So I absolutely apologize if there's just this never-ending sound of rain in the background. Literally the moment that I sat down, it just decided it's gonna be coming down. We get some nice ambience with this. It's kind of fitting, for this type of video to have that happen, like a little squeaky rain right in the background. It's fantastic. Thank you, Mother Nature. So today's video is about, if you read the title, Bhangarh Fort. Let me go ahead and just pre-state, I apologize a million times over if I mispronounce any of the names or words in this video. I'm doing my best. Let's get into it. Fuck you, Mike. Okay. The Bhangarh Fort is considered to be the most haunted place in India. It's located within the Alwar district, and as legend goes, in 1573 a man by the name of Raja Singh's Kajwa, ruler of Amber, would have the fort built for his youngest son, Madho Singh. And the location of this fort will be what we now know as today as Rajasthan, India. And before you're thinking, like, yes, get into this construction, we're gonna get this done. No. The site they had decided on also happened to be the site of a local sage known by the name of Bhadunath. So, we don't want to disrespect this man, okay? Buku power, So, I say so much. That's too many souls. Madho would go to Bhalu, and he would ask him for permission. Go to him, go something like this. Hey, Guru Bhadunath, may it be that I construct a fortress right by you. I mean, I imagine that Bhalu was just like, yes, but also, I really don't want your giant fortress to be casting a shadow over onto my home, like, it'll really take my sunshine away. Like, that's my sun. I want some sun. I don't, get up every morning, meditate, do what I do, and, look over there. Oh, wait, I'm clouded. Nothing but a giant shadow. So, yeah, you can go ahead and build it. I'm down for neighbors, but do not build it up so high that I am robbed of that of which nature gives me. Madho's like, okay, yeah, gotcha. Right on. And they come to that agreement. That was a very dramatized version of that. But, yeah. Now, unfortunately, while Madho himself did not break this rule, because he stands by agreements, some of the successors to his fortress would not be as willing. And eventually, the fort would have a height of about 7 stories. That sounds familiar. And, as such, I imagine Bhadunath walked outside one day and he was just like, you son of a... So then he went and did sage stuff and bam, he cursed them. Anyways, that's one version of the legend that happened there. But there's another one. Also has to do with curses. Because curses are pretty neat in the story. Plentiful. Exactly 2. Want a curse? We're handing them out left and right. Madho would have a son named Shatter. And Shatter would have a son named Ajab. And a daughter, beautiful daughter, named Ratnavati. And well, the public's opinions of these 2 children would be very different. While Ajab was hated by the populace, Ratnavati was loved, considered to be just this absolutely beautiful, beautiful woman, well-behaved, just wow. In fact, she was just so pleasant in all aspects that, I'm not gonna lie, she had, guys, not many suitors. It's that modern day sliding into the DMs, except a lot of those DM slide-ins were also kind of like, hey girl, you fine, let's get married. Considering a girl of this stature, eventually you get something a little off, There was a tantric priest who loved at her. Tantric priest, like, damn! Look at all these guys after her hand. And look at me. He realized he kind of stood no chance. But instead of going about this the normal way and at least giving it a shot the traditional way via going up to her and being like, I will offer you 1 sheep for daughter. Cut that out. I'll probably be walking out and everyone's just like, oh, miss. So this tantric priest, his name was Singja. And knowing he had little to no hope of ever authentically getting the gal, he decided, hey, I'm a tantric priest. I know a little bit about magic, specifically the evil kind. So he'd use magic of sorts to win the gal, win her heart. He'd find her maid in the village buying perfume, and he'd take his opportunity probably from behind a rock. Or who knows, maybe the maid had turned around for just a brief second and he ran up and went, but you don't really know exactly how he pulled it off, but he, casted a love spell upon the perfume that the maid bought for Ratnavati. When Ratnavati got the perfume, she looked at it, she was like, I'm not this stupid. Threw it out her window. As one does whenever they get a tampered product that had been specifically tampered in such a way to make you fall in love with them. Unbeknownst to her, Creep Sinja was outside the window. That bottle of perfume fell onto a boulder outside the window. And that boulder must have been pretty loose because that boulder fell. And it crushed him. Wow, what karma! Well, with his last dying breath, he decided he was going to hurt Ratnavati, her family, and the entire village. The entire fort. Because why not? Get the fuck all of you fuckers. You're all cursed now. If he can't have her, you're all doomed. It's said that this curse would make it to where the souls of whom lived within the village would, upon their deaths, be unable to pass on to the next life. Reincarnation? No, we don't do that here. Not anymore. I get more awkward. Ratnavati's brother, Ajab, would return and be like, hey, fuck you. He brings on a little army and he's like, hey, he killed most everyone there. And sadly, this would include Ratnavati. And ever since that battle, the fortress would always kind of be in continuous decline when it came to the population. People just never really recouped. And then when King Shatter himself died, it was even more so. But it wouldn't be until 1783 when finally the remaining people within the village would completely leave due to a famine. Abandoned. 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 Abandoned fort. Another interesting side effect to this curse, or curses, whichever one did which, is for some reason all the surrounding buildings and buildings within the fort just don't have roofs. Except for certain temples dedicated to deities scattered throughout Happen Keep. One interesting example of these temples would be the Hanuman Temple, which is said to have had saints go there years ago and perform a ceremony of sorts that apparently makes that specific temple completely unreachable for any ill-doing spirits. You hear that right, ladies and gentlemen? You ever happen to find yourself in Bhangarh Fort, and there's a demon chasing you, or a djinn, anything, hell, your mom's coming at you, and she's got a slipper. Go into the Hanuman Temple. She can't get you there. She can still throw it, though. Okay. Of course, this would kind of bring these souls who are there, stuck, unable to reincarnate. They can't become a newborn baby and grow up into a man, woman. Instead, they're stuck as a ghost. Forever in limbo, forever stuck. Naturally, they just haunt the place now. They're just going, boo boo, I'm a ghost. I'm a ghost. That's what I would do. Also, obviously, tourists see apparitions, they'll hear music playing, dancing, etc. Interestingly, very well pointed out piece of information about this place is ever since a particular society decided to be like, hey, you recognize you're a recognized monument now. They decided to be like, hey, let's just close the doors at night, because apparently that's what you do now. There's a couple reasons for it, honestly. Probably the most understandable reason would be that there's a lot of wildlife there. If you watch any videos or go there, you'll see monkeys. It's also known to have panthers. So other than the ghost, I don't want to be there alone at night. But ultimately, they also say within the legends that nighttime is the most active time. And that anyone who goes to the fort after hours will meet misfortune. One of the most popular stories of this is these three guys who decided to go there with a flashlight. Ooh, spooky. And, apparently one of them just somehow got stuck in a well. Pushed, maybe. Somehow the friends got him out and rushed him to a nearby hospital, only to get into a wreck on the way and die. So yeah, that's pretty misfortunate. Apparently, interestingly, because you're not allowed in there at sunset and they literally close it when you can't go in, a lot of people will bribe their way in. Understandably. So this pair of guests bribed their way in. They're having a great time. They're just walking around. It's about an hour into it, and they kind of just, they're joking. They haven't seen nothing. And then there's this barred window, and they see a man whom is in it, sitting. Not looking at them, just looking off in the distance, all dazed out, zoned. And they see this, and they're horrified. Well, they manage somehow to shift his attention, and he looks at them. And you know what he does? He smirks. The girls, they ran, terrified. There's also the story of this guy whom brought his son, and they were walking outside, and this man walks up to him just desperately, urgently just trying to tell them, like, hey, let me tell you the true story of this fort. Let me get into all the details here. And he's just really going at him. And this man, he's walking with his son, who's about like 9-ish years old, and it's just kind of like, oh, crazy. Okay. And he tries to wipe him off a little bit, but he just won't stop pestering, trying to tell him the true story of the fort. So he does the right thing, and he picks up his son, and there's a couple other people, tourists, locals-ish, I don't know, and he goes to them, fast walks, to get away from this crazy man who will just not stop. And keep in mind, all this is in complete view. Like, the others, they could see it, you know? They'd be able to see them. And he goes to him and he stops. He's like, okay, checks to make sure this man's not tailing behind him. And he's gone. And there's really nowhere he could have went. So he looks at all the people and he's like, hey, where did that man go, you know? And they're like, what man? So apparently, no one else saw the man except for the father and the son. This man who repeatedly was badgering them and kind of making a bit of a scene, I'd imagine. Enough so for him to want to pick up his son and go. And yet not a single person noticed him, or had seen him at all. He just disappeared. A gatekeeper of the place. So apparently each night, he locks up the gate, and he goes to the Hanuman temple. And he just sits in there and he waits till morning. What's interesting is, apparently, according to him, he'll hear his wife outside of the temple calling for him, asking him to please open the gate. Please. And sometimes, instead of his wife's voice, he'll hear his mother's. His mother had been dead for over a decade at this point. And he'll hear her outside the temple, absolutely begging him for some water, telling him just how thirsty she is. Just please, just a simple sip of water. And this man can do nothing because he knows logically that whatever's calling to him, it is not his wife, and it is definitely not his mother. So he has no choice but to sit there the whole night, waiting for the morning, at which point he'll get up and he'll go out, finish his duties, unlock the gate. That story specifically kind of got me a bit. I was like, oh. The last story that I have for you guys. There is this man, a local, whom often frequents the fort. He does so with complete respect. Goes there, there's little offerings sometimes. He's not a newbie to it. And he had a couple other well-meaning friends who would go there and do the same thing. And one time they had decided to all go together, and they were at the top floor. Although the Bhangarh fort was once 7 stories tall, nowadays it's only 3. Because time. So they were at the top of the fort, and they noticed it was getting darker than it usually did at that time. So deciding, because they had a long walk to take to get back, they would go ahead and make their descent down the stairs so they can get started on it. Can't be that after dark. Cannot. As they were making the descent, one of the friends just randomly started screaming. Frantically, he ran down the stairs, completely freaking out, and he did not stop until he made it close to one of the temples and just fell over. Collapsed. His friends, obviously worried, went to him, splashing him with water, like, hey, wake up, what happened? And when he would come to, he'd tell them that as he was walking down those stairs, he felt something jump onto his back in an attempt to twist his head, likely trying to snap his neck. Ooh, wasn't even dark yet in that one. In any case, apparently the guy, he just decided, like, he ain't gonna take no more chances, and make sure he goes well before he knows it's gonna be dark. So, yeah. That is all that I have for you lovelies today when it comes to the story of this fort. Tell me what you know about it down below. I spent a considerable amount of time researching it. It's very interesting. If you liked this video, give it a like. It helps a lot. Lets me know. Subscribe even if you would like to see more content. I will see you guys later in another video. Ta-ta!